are going to talk about understanding the CISM certification. We are going to talk about the strategies for effective preparation, how to pass in the first attempt. That is our main goal, right? Whatever certification we do, we don't want to just invest money one time and multiple times we want to just go around the same circle reading the same book again and again. We just want to get over with it. But it is not just getting over with it. With the exam, we have to understand it, we have to retain it, and we have to make sure we use tips and tricks so that we can implement this not just in one exam, we can implement it in any examination going forward, right? So CISM is not just the last pedestal for you, it is just a interim stop where you stop and just take some rest and then move on to the next and then next and then next, right? So you keep on giving various examinations all your life and get trained and gain knowledge, and this is just what we are going to discuss about today. So this is about myself and almost 17 plus years of experience now to you what you have already heard about from multiple sources, multiple videos, multiple like peers. Oh, see, some, this is what you do, this is how you do it, right? I want to do it a little different. So let us see how what we can do different about it. Now I'm going to start with a small story for you, right? The story starts where, because of privacy reasons, I have changed the name, but there is a guy called David. So this David began his career as a junior cybersecurity analyst at a mid-sized tech company. Now his day-to-day responsibilities were, as we start always, that is monitoring alerts, responding to incidents, managing security tools like firewall, SIEM solution, etc. Over time, what happened was David realized that while he enjoyed the technical aspect of his work, he also wants to know a little bit about the broader business challenges and the aspects like risk assessment, policy creation, assigning security investment with organizational goals. He didn't know about that. So one day, David's manager entrusted him with overseeing the development of a new security policy. As he went deeper into this, he discovered complexities that stretched beyond the pure technical concerns. So he had to coordinate with the legal team, the HR team, the finance team, marketing team, sales team to ensure that the policy complied with the regulations and also fit the corporate culture. Because when you are talking to 10 people, 10 people come with 10 different point of view, right? 10 different cultural aspect of the company. It's not the culture they carry with themselves throughout, it is the technical culture, the business culture, the company's culture. Now this project that David was working as, it became his epiphany, kind of manifestation, you can say, right? So he always dreamed of that. So when you are manifesting on something, it became true for David. And cybersecurity is as much important for David and other people and processes as it is about technology. That is what David realized. Now he was introduced by a very close friend of his to this certification, CISM, CISM, right? And when he was working on this curriculum, which emphasized on establishing and managing an information security program, it appealed to him, his inner desire to work for a higher strategic level. The certification covered how to bridge the gap between technical security need and the business objective, a critical skill for any future leaders. And while David was already hands on, he had hands on experience with, as I told you, he was working on alerts, incident handling, managing SIEM solution, firewall, all these things. He also now started understanding from a design perspective of policy and process how this incident response framework works. So that is what CISM material gave him. Now, while I was talking to David, he mentioned five very important points, five very important perspective rather about CISM, why he did CISM and how it helped him. So before CISM, he primarily focused on technical skills and technical tasks. But he advised, after getting CISM, he advised the C-suite on how to prioritize the security investment based on risk assessment. He loves being able to shaping the organization's security roadmap, which is a very, very important aspect for the business. Also, when he briefed the department heads, he translated those technical details into financial impact, like in terms of monetary impact, compliance obligation, and business continuity. Not just, okay, there is a technical tool that we need, technical control that we need, and that's it. What are the aspects of it, how it is going to impact it, how it is a business enabler for your environment. Now security has always been a cost center for all the companies, but the CISM basically elevated his profile to business enabler. Third thing he talked about was when he was doing firefighting incidents, case by case basis, right? An incident came in, he was investigating, that's it. Now he has a structured plan that reduces confusion and errors. And the response time became faster, aftermath was controlled, and a lot of things happened. Also, David was being asked to advise beyond technical solutions. It felt rewarding for him because he was now a trusted advisor, and he was giving the bigger picture, the strategies, the day to day security operations, right? Both aspect of it. And finally, when he earned the CISM, it felt like crossing a significant milestone in his career. So he was basically having a foothold on both the technology and the management. That is all about CISM. Why you need to get CISM, why you feel like getting a CISM, right? So who should pursue CISM? Certified Information Security Manager. It's a globally recognized certification. It is, you must have heard from multiple people about it. You must have read it in their signatures, email signatures. Oh, he is CISM certified. But who should pursue them? It is focused towards managerial roles. So if you are a professional who are aspiring for managerial role, not today, not tomorrow, maybe after a year, maybe after 2 years, it is something which will benefit you. It will something which will build your base, right? So it is good for compliance and governance professionals, cybersecurity risk managers, security consultants, IT managers with security responsibilities, information security managers. I have even seen project managers who are CISM certified. They don't have anything to do with security, but they are handling now security projects. So if this is the scenario, then they have to know exactly what needs to be done, right? So that is where basically this thing came into picture. The four different domains, let me write it for you. Information security governance, the first one. Information security governance. The second one is information risk management. Okay, this is a very important part. Governance, risk, right? The third is the information security program development and management. Security program development, this is also a very important aspect. And then the fourth domain, there are only four domains, so the fourth domain is information security incident management. So security incident management. Okay, so governance, risk, information security program development, and security incident management. Now, eligibility requirements, that is 5 years of minimum experience of cumulative paid full work experience, and some experience substitutions are available. Like if you already have CISSP earlier certifications, that helps. Then you have to pass the exam with 150 questions, and within a specific amount of time. I'll be giving you all the details in the upcoming slides, what is covered, how it is done. Then you have to adhere to the code of ethics, and then you have to earn continuously something called as the CPE, that is the continued or continuing professional education requirement. That is basically the number of hours which generally is earned through either other certifications or through various other ways, like attend webinars, seminars, attend conferences, and so on, right? There are multiple ways of doing it, not just one or two or what I have said. There are many, many ways. Exam structure is simple: 150 questions, multiple choice. It is not done through Pearson VUE. The exam is done through PSI. They are the ones who conduct the examination. Then they are marked up to 800 marking. 200 to 800 is the marking range, and for passing you need to get 450. This is the passing marks. Okay, passing marks is 450. Duration is 4 hours. Now the fun part is that you can mark the questions and you can return back to check the answers, to correct them, to update them. These are all computer based testing, right? So you can uh, just mark a question and say that, okay, I want to recheck the answer at a later time. Right now I'm a little confused about it. Once I have done with all the 149 questions, I want to come to this particular question back, right? And it is given in multiple languages. It is not just in English, it's given in Chinese and other languages also, right? All across the globe. Next is some preparation tips. Some preparation tips we'll be talking about in detail. Basics are, I will share a link which is official, the ISACA resources. Okay, which is the review manual and the practice question database PQD, and then there are review courses by training providers. So infosec train will give you a lot of resources and lot of books, PDF books and all other resources and questions and everything for your preparation. Apart from that, you need to also do a little bit of self study. Once you do that, you have to also make sure that you join groups and forums, right? So that it helps. And it basically benefits you in discussing, right? It helps you to benefit in growing and knowing the real world, because your part of the world might be working in a different way, the other part of the world or other industries might be working in a different way, because you have to talk to other people who are also like uh, from different domains. Say for example, someone is working in retail company, someone is working in real estate company, someone is working in banking, someone is working in government company, non-government company, defense company, someone is working in a firm which is a startup. They all have different ways of approaching, right? So that's something basically which helps. So when you are joining study groups, discussion forums, that gives you a broader perspective and real world scenarios. Apart from that, practical experience is good enough. Now if in your company, say for example, you are working in X company, right? Now you reach out to your infosec team. If you're already working in security, good. If you are not working in security, say you are working in finance, you can always reach out to infosec team and they would be happy to give you a rundown of the policies that are there in your environment. Now if we think of policies, you can go ahead and always discuss with them in detail about, since these are all internal team members of yours, right? You can always, if someone is friendly with you, you can always sit and discuss over a cup of coffee about the policies, how they create these policies, what is their source of understanding, what does NIST talk about, what is say DPDPA, what is PIPEDA, what is CCPA, what kind of privacy policies does your company follow. They would be glad and happy to talk about these things for hours and hours. So understanding the policies, what they are important for, then how the projects are chosen and running in your environment, these things are basically, no one can give you better understanding than the person who is actually working in the field, right? So they will, and since it is your own company, you can ask whatever technical detail or whatever actual information they will share with you, because it's all about internal companies resources, right? If someone from outside is asking about these questions, I'll be still have reservations, like shall I tell him about this or that, shall I tell him about the controls or the tools that I use, because it is someone who is from outside the company. I don't want to expose my internal company secrets to them, but it has nothing to do with anymore the internal company secrets, right? It is now in your company only. So that gives a edge on that. So that is something which you should do, like proactively. You have to go and talk to them proactively about it, right? So okay, that's one plan. And then next is the career benefits. As I mentioned before also, there are multiple benefits, but I can tell you four out of my this one. That industry recognition is one, where if you are, say for example, CISM certified, you will be able to talk to your peers who are also CISM certified or CISSP certified in the same language. So you are now a managerial person, a person who understands business, who understands risk management, who understands cybersecurity in and out, right? So they will help you out, they will talk about their challenges, you will share your part of the challenges. Plus, earning potential increases the more you get certified at a higher level. CISM is a high level certification, so you get managerial benefits. Managerial slabs in your company will be more high than an analyst or a senior person, right? CISM certification will give you access to leadership roles, because your company's requirement might be that you have to have CISM certification. They will do internal hiring. That is another benefit. Career advancement. You want to move to manager from senior team lead. You want to move to director of security or CISO. You need to have CISM. Even like I have talked to 20, 30 CISOs in my uh, different surrounding, in my peer, in my visit to different uh, webinars or seminars. I have talked to them, I have seen their credentials. 99.9% had CISM with them, right? Because it gives you the perspective, it gives you the understanding, it gives you the knowledge which you need to carry for taking those major decision of business, keeping security as the back burner. It is not always that you have to keep security as the first runner up, first thing in the company. The first thing is business, which will earn for you. The second is the security. So how to manage it, how to balance it, CISM gives you the perspective. The last is networking opportunities. Like if you are joining the Izaka global network of security professionals, you can reach anyone, you can ping anyone, you can talk to anyone, you can ask any question to any person in the Isaka network, who are all CISM certified, CISA certified, CISSP certified, sorry, not CISSP, CISM certified, CISA certified, C-risk certified, and so on. So you can ask questions to them, you can reach out to them, you can put like papers with them. You can, suppose you are drafting a paper, you are sharing knowledge, you can do all these things. Now, understanding the domain and the exam format is critical for this exam, passing this exam. So, understanding the domain and exam format would be like, as I mentioned, 4 domains. The 4 domains has a explicit blueprint, which is given by ISACA. The advisable plan is to have your roadmap ready. If you are in a project management profile and if you want to do security projects, right, you don't have to have CSSP, you need to go for CISM, because you want to become a manager, for a managerial role for the project managers, right? If you want, suppose you are a quality assurance analyst, right, and now you want to understand that uh, understand that what are basically the challenges of business. I need to understand that, because you have to take a decision on quality assurance based on your business requirement for that particular project. So it is nothing to be against CISSP or for CISM. They are two different certifications, they have different scope. CISSP gives you access to a specific set of knowledge. They say that it is a course where you start thinking like a manager. CISM is already for the managers. They are conducted by two different bodies. One is by ISC2, one is by ISACA. Now, their scope of education is different. One has 8 domains, one has 4 domains. CISM you can do independently, CSSP you can do independently. If you do one before the other, it will give you a benefit that you have some pre captured knowledge. That's all, right? It is not that if you do CSSP, then you will be easily doing CISM, or if you do CISM, you will easily nature, right? And one is basically giving you access to 150 questions. You can come back and recheck your answers and change them. So their pattern of examinations is also different. So their thought process is different. They will ask you, I will have some, I'll do some practice questions at the end. So let me finish quickly and then we'll go to the next part. Now, this domain and exam format, as I mentioned, 4 domains: information security governance, risk management, security program development and management, and security incident management. So you need to have this blueprint. I mentioned that blueprint in the chat. You can click on this link, it will take you to the blueprint. Go to page number 26 to 29. That area you will find CISM. Actually, this blueprint contains everything, all the different CISA, CISM, CRISC, CZEIT, everything is there, but just concentrate on the area which is given for CISM, and it gives you in great detail, right? So create a study plan for that, have a structured study plan for that, where you break down each domain, have specific goals set. When I say specific goal set, it is very vague. You might ask, what does this specific goal mean? Plan for weekly or bi-weekly targets. Always make sure that have a weekly target. When you are studying, study with some dedication, where you need to plan for at least 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, per week by week, right? And mention there, complete chapter 2 of the review manual this week, or finish 50 practice questions on domain 3, something like that. So always mention what you are going to finish in this week. Always mention, if you have a bi-weekly plan, like I might require more time than my peer, so there might be David and Jack. David might take 2 weeks to finish one domain, Jack might take 1 week to finish one domain. It's not a competition between yourself, it is a competition with yourself, right? If David and Jack are competing, then I can say, okay, David is first, Jack is second, or David is second, Jack is first, because he finished in 1 week, David finished in 2 weeks. But it's not a competition. Everyone passes, everyone gets a chance to become a manager, because David works for X company and Jack works for Y company. They are peer, they are sharing knowledge, because sharing is caring, right? So community learning, that you need to talk to your peers, and once you have completed, like, engage, give your time basically to community learning. Practical scenarios, it is possible when you are basically working with a manager. Observe him, talk talk about the case studies, talk about real world experiences that your manager has had before, because it's your manager, he'll be always happy to talk to you, or if he can give some 5 minutes 10 minutes time, right? Or even if he is your lead who has some practical experience about the security programs, the risk assessment measures that are going on in the environment. Incident response is his job, so he might be running with some ideas in his mind. Talk to him about the strategies he's planning, things like that. Observe and learn from your managers and peers. Then when you are actually working on a strategy, always make sure that two things you should have to keep in your mind. And I will, on the last second last slide, or last slide, I will tell you some keywords, very important keywords. Look out for those keywords like best, most, right? These are some keywords which are very important, like most appropriate. They want you to know what is the answer which they want to see. Again, always understand and remember, Isaka has a way of thinking. Isaka is going to conduct the exam, they want to know what they want to hear, right? So the best option in this case might be what your company has done, but your company is not the only vertical which is there in the market. What are other companies doing? What is a government company doing? They might be doing different strategies. So what is the best in every scenario, right? So look out for those answers. We'll again do some questions and explain how it works. Do a elimination method. Always narrow down your answers. Don't fight with four people. Always fight with one or two. You can still win, right? Your chances of winning is 50%. Always that thing works. Like if it's two people, it is less than four people, right? So eliminate. Then manage your time. When you are doing 150 questions and 4 hours, it, when you are starting your journey, you will feel that, oh, I have a lot of time, I can easily do 50 questions in 2 hours, then another 2 hours I can spend 100 questions on, right? But the moment you start reading the questions, the length of the questions will amaze you first, then the depth of the questions will amaze you further. And once you are so much amazed, you will see that you, like 3.5 hours have passed, and you are still stuck with 120 questions. What about rest of the 30 questions? Will you be able to complete it in half an hour? Either you will just randomly check 111 dab 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 a b b b b c c c c d d d d, or you will say, okay, fine, let me think about answers and give. Then you will lose time, and you will have still 12 answers to go through, and maybe one or two marked answers which you have put here. Don't mark unless you really need them to be marked. Don't just mark for fun, because what happens is, the first answer that is you have given is the correct answer. The moment you start rereading it, you start doubting yourself, because after 20 questions, 20 more questions, you might doubt that, oh, I think the answer that I marked might be not A but B, but actually the answer is A. You have correctly answered it first time, but after seeing two more questions, you feel that no, it might be B, which is wrong, right? So never doubt your first option. Only mark it if necessary. Don't use a tool which is there in your environment just for the sake of it, because that is against security, right? Don't just use a tool like vulnerability assessment any time of the day. Okay, I have Qualys, I will scan the whole day. Don't do that, right? So the same thing goes here. If they have given a tool, it is for your benefit, but don't use it anywhere and everywhere. Only if required, use it. Revise, review, and reinforce. Always make sure you have the 3 R's, the power of 3 R's with you. Always regularly review the sessions, whatever recording is given to you for the regular sessions. Measure your progress so that you know, okay, I have known this concept is clear to me, I understand incident management, I understand governance, I understand compliance, I understand risk management, risk assessment, the techniques, and reinforce them in your environment. Go back and see whether it is actually fitting your environment. Some deviations might be there, question them, why is there a deviation, is there a gap? Because the best thing that it does is gap analysis. Okay, we will talk about this again throughout this whole discussion, gap analysis. Now, how do you pass in the first attempt? First attempt, if you have to pass, you have to give your full. Let me tell you a small story of continuously learning and be very vigilant, right? So if you have known Usain Bolt, he is not a CISM, right? I'm not talking about Usain Bolt and CISM. I'm talking about how he continuously practiced, right? So continuously practice. In 2001, he got his first silver medal, and then after that, 2008, 2000 and 2012 and 2016, he continuously won, and then 2017 he retired, right? For doing this journey of gold medal, he took 10 years for a 10 minutes run. Now whole uh, the whole like competition, he only ran for 10 minutes, but he prepared for 10 years. You don't have to prepare for 10 years, but you have to have a very strong blueprint for that, right? So that you know exactly what you are getting into. You have to make sure that I cannot make myself less by just going through the questions and answers and not knowing about what I am answering, right? So this examination asks you to have a blueprint of yourself, align with your plan, align with couple of things like how you are going to spend your study time, how you are going to, so you have a study time, you have a question and answer session, and you have to make sure you have work time where you are working for the company, you have family time when you are spending time with your family. Everything has to be balanced. If you have to reduce this, family time you can reduce, but work time you cannot. Like, you can, if you have some pending leaves left, you can take 1 or 2 days or 3 days leave for doing a little more practice before the examination, and then just take care of it, right? So that's how you have to have a blueprint. Use the right materials. Right material, when I say, I talk about only ISACA material. Other materials, some of them they will be given by infosec train. You will go through 100 other videos, 100 other reels, 100 other resources, right? Nobody is stopping you from doing that, but only what is right for you. Because everything you are spending time on, right? If you are reading 10 books, you are spending equal amount of time on all of them. You cannot read 10 books and still pass the exam, and you read one book and not pass the exam. It doesn't happen. You can still pass the exam, but just going through the training which infosec train is going to give you and reading the correct material, because we have all aligned everything, right? It is through and through everything the same. We have aligned the study plan, aligned the material, aligned the routine for you, right? Now when you talk about the routine, always, as I mentioned, have a weekly or bi-weekly plan, and make sure you write there what are you going to finish 30 questions daily, complete domain 1 by end of week 2 or week 1.5, right there. Study small chunk. Don't, I will read 20 hours in 1 week. No, you are not going to read 20 hours in 1 week. You are only going to read 60 minutes per day. That's all you need, but make it effective. Don't read 20 hours per week. You are not a daily labor, right? You are not going to do daily labor after season. You are going to be managerial. So think about it. Your work is going to also continue, your family is also going to continue, your life is also going to continue. Spend what you can handle, spend what you can capture, because you need breaks also. You cannot continuously directly come from office and start studying, and then again go to sleep, directly shut down yourself, and then again next day you get up in the morning, read a little bit and go to work and forget about everything else. You will burn out within 15 days. I can write it down. 15 days will burn out. After that your motivation will dip. You will say, no, get the hell out, I am not going to do this exam, I don't want to do this exam, I don't want to become a manager, right? So I have seen people doing that. So don't overdo, optimally do it so that you can pass the exam. 60 minutes per day is more than enough, right? Have a 3 months or 2 months plan, 60 minutes per day, that's all. You will still pass the exam, but have, again, the study material is correct. Hands-on experience always is, again, talk to your managers, talk to your peers, talk to the general public. LinkedIn, talk to them, see what they are doing every day, reach out to them. Nobody says no to anyone these days. Everyone is happy talking and sharing their thoughts, right? So practice, 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 because Usain Bolt completed 10 years to win a medal for 10 minutes run, right? Practice, practice, and practice. You don't have to wait for 10 years. Wait for 2 months and properly do 60 minutes every day. Like you work out on your body 60 minutes, and within 3 months you start seeing the changes. Same thing here. 3 months, it's like a workout of your brain, CISM workout, right? So make it a plan. Practice, practice, practice. Then get your peers to help you, and then go for some strategies. Like, these are very important strategies for you. Many questions, they will have multiple correct answers, but you have to focus on what is the best or most appropriate answer from a managerial standpoint. Focus on your business. So how will business be benefited? Think of the amount of money they will spend. Think of the, uh, say for example, people will come to you now, right? So what kind of benefits they will get in terms of their name and fame, right? So that is very important. So that is something, a managerial standpoint. Managers don't think about, okay, I have to fix this issue right now, there is a hole in the boat, I'll just fix the issue. But they will think of, okay, let us fix the issue right now, but I also need to upgrade my boat, I need to have a better boat, I need to have a larger crew for managing this kind of a issue going forward. So those are the things you have to think of. Focus on broader impacts like risk appetite, then uh, go for compliance requirements, stakeholder communication. Prioritize governance, risk, and cost benefit consideration over purely technical fixes. Always in the answers you will get that, right? We'll see some questions that time, you will get to know. Take a screenshot of this and always make sure you remember this thing. Next is, why is CISM important? We have talked about it a lot. Quickly, I'll just go through it. Because it gives you leadership skills, right? It's recognized validation of managerial expertise. So it gives you leadership skill, and you bridge between security and business. Business, you have to keep it happy so that they give you money for continuously working on security projects, right? So you need money for those projects. You need money for buying a firewall, money for buying a new security solution like CASB or CNAP or whatever it is, right? So you need money for that. You need money for M365 DLP solution, MIP solution, but you need to make business happy. Then industry wide credibility and prestige. Of course, you will get global recognition, and you will be having a standard, knowledge standard. It enhances your competitive edge, so enhances your career prospect, and of course your salary bracket will increase. These certifications always give you higher earning potential, because next you are targeting for director, next you are targeting for CISO, next you are targeting for CIO, next you are targeting for CSO. You will get better salary. Always, now you will start focusing on three aspects of GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, which is the three building blocks of the CISM, the information security manager, right? They are the three swords which always you have to carry with you. And finally, it helps you to have a robust security program, because in your environment, in your industry, you should have a better program which other vendors and other clients will trust. So you have to make sure you bring in business. But how do you bring in business? By showing them you are the best in the industry. How do you show that? You should have a robust security program. This is something which everyone wants to see these days. Nobody talks about physical security. Nobody says that, okay, someone will come in and attack your data center. They will say everything is in cloud. So how do you safeguard that? So your client and vendor will ask this question: how are you making sure they are compliant? If they are in cloud, if you are having, say, inter country transfer policies or not. Suppose you are in US region and I'm in Canada region and someone is in European Union region. Is data cross border interaction allowed or not? How are you managing and making sure that they are audit friendly, right? So how are you making their compliance? As I mentioned, GRC is your three most important tool because it bridges the gaps, right? So think of a ship. The governance, this is the captain's command. So captain will tell, take right, take left, turn it this, turn it that side, right? And risk management is basically the ship's lookout, where the navigator serves as the risk management team who says whether there is a high tide, low tide, there is a say for example there is a iceberg in the way or not, right? And compliance is the ship's adherence to maritime laws so that they don't carry unwanted goods from uh, one country or one location to another location, right? One location to another location, because it might not be according to the laws, right? So they have to follow protocols, they have to follow laws, they have to make sure their weight restrictions are adhered to. So that is compliance. Now, next is the domains covered. Quickly, covered domains are basically the most important four things: governance, risk management, security program development and management, and security incident management. These all are covered in depth in the course that infosec will be helping you out on. Whenever you enroll to the course, you will get in detail key pointers like how much to allocate resources to, how do you actually design a program, what is training and awareness important for, how do you measure metrics and measurements, then how do you establish policies and standards, monitoring and reporting, why is it important, securing the senior management support, why is it important and how you do it, gaining buy-in, what exactly is that, what is return on investment, what is planning and preparation, detecting and analysis to do with it, what is lessons learned mean to you, how is containment and recovery different from something else, right? Why is planning and preparation always important and according to a playbook, what is a playbook do, what is the incident response plan look like, everything is being covered in detail in this four different domains, right? Next is timelines. When you are preparing for the examination, overall time frame is 12 to 16 weeks. Now, for CISSP, you might have given a little over that, right? So when you talk about um, say four, okay, so almost three and a half, three and a half uh, month, right? So this is the best case scenario. Again, as I mentioned, it is up to your capability and your knowledge acquisition. If you have not done CISSP, it is something which will take more time. If you have already done CISSP recently, this will reduce your time to 1 to 1.5 weeks, right? 1 to 1.5 weeks, that is 4 to 6 weeks, because you have already covered a substantial amount of the knowledge. Now, why I would not allow you to do this within this time, why I would say always try to have at least 8 weeks, even if you have done CISSP. Reason being, I have seen people who are expert in that, but only say 19 to 20% of the people, remaining 80% of the people, they face challenges when you are asked a different set of questions. Because this, if you say CISM covers, I would say 30 to 40% of what CISSP is training you for. But CISSP has far more broader concepts, because there again, as I mentioned, the question pattern is different, the preparation is different. The CISSP is adaptive test. Here it is a set of 150 questions. They straight away give you, you know the questions. When you have done all of them, you can mark them to come back. But CISSP doesn't allow you to do that. CISSP tells that, okay, if you have done this, then you cannot come back to the answer. You have to go next and then next and then next. If you have completed CISSP, you can cover CISM. CISSP will be a little difficult, right? But if you have covered CISSP recently, your knowledge covering is already like way further, right? But again, as I mentioned, this needs more understanding, a better understanding of governance, risk and compliance, which is not the area which is covered in CISSP. It doesn't talk a lot about business perspective, it talks about it, but to a limit. It doesn't give you 99.9% coverage of that. So when you are talking about business plus security, CISM is all about that. So I would always suggest that go for 4 to 6 week, best case go for 8 weeks for preparation, and then you can move on. But if you have neither done CISSP before nor studied CISM before, I always go for a 12 to 16 week preparation time, self preparation. It will include your training time. it will include your training time, because you will be trained for almost like 6 weeks, right? So this 6 weeks training will be given to you, in which we will cover all these four domains. So after that, you start the remaining 1.5 months to 2 months time, right? So if I'm already giving you 1.5 month of your training, take another month or maybe another half of it, right? And then continue and give the exam, right? Always make sure you organize your thoughts before going into it. So if you are planning, this is the pattern which I would always suggest. Week 2 to 3 focus on domain 1, 4 to 5 focus on domain 2, and then domain 3, and then domain 4. This is irrespective of the time that we are spending together, right? Because the first week I'm directly jumping into the training. I'm not going to tell you to get organized. This is yourself. You start 1 week earlier. Suppose you say that, okay, in February I'm starting the training, or end of January I'm starting the training. You have to get organized before 1 week. You have to know, okay, this is my study plan, this is the book I have purchased, this is the content I'm getting from infosec train, this is the questions that I'm going to do. So that is up to you. You have to do it beforehand. Once you do that, then you directly join the training. You fix all the four domains, get the knowledge, get over with it. Now is again time for you to revise them and do the questions. Once you have done all this, go for the mental preparation and get into the exam mode. These are the recommended sets. There are far more resources which are available. I wouldn't give you explicit suggestion on that. It's up to you. If you have access to those books, or when you join the training, if you get access to those books, it is up to you how you acquire them. Because when you are reading through them, many times you will see that I'm able to understand some book better than the other. So it's up to you how you are gaining the knowledge from which book. Ultimately, we have to complete the exam. That's all, right? You can take a screenshot of this. The question banks, the study material and community resources, real world application and continuous learning is all about, as I mentioned. Go for discussing with your peers, go for workplace projects, conferences, webinars, podcasts, blogs, read through them, go through the manuals, free resources, whatever is available, right? Go through them. Now, when you are getting into the preparation, right? How do you retain your knowledge? Quick tips, some things, right? Retaining your knowledge. Go for short frequent reviews, right? Short frequent reviews is like, suppose you learn a concept, right? Quickly schedule a follow up review. What do you do when you go to a doctor, or what do you go when you go for a particular consultant? You ask them, can I have a follow up session, so that have I done it correctly, I want to review it, right? So go for reviews, right? Short reviews. Within 1 week I will again review the topic and see whether I retain it or not. That's how you retain the knowledge. Retaining means whether you still remember that or not. Go for flashcard and digital apps, right? If there are available, there are many quizlets freely available. You can create your own flashcards. Then infosec train has a lot of access to flashcards and other resources. You can go through them. Self quiz, there are many free resources. Ask questions to yourself. Small notes, make paper notes, make sticky notes, put it there and try to recall. Then whatever you have done in the job, try to call your experience and see whether someone else has done that, or some you have faced that scenario, that particular thing. Like say for example, governance. Have you done a part of governance before? Have you been in a situation where someone asked you to be a part of SOC 2 audit, or maybe a ISO 27001 audit, or maybe PCI DSS audit? What kind of audit information did you facilitate? What did they ask? What was the control number? What was the control description? Try to remember them. Read through articles and case studies. This will continuously reinforce your knowledge. Make your own summary. Don't depend on a trainer, or don't depend on infosec train or other peers or your video youtubers to give you knowledge on your behalf. Always make your own summary, that okay, from this I understand this part. Because everyone makes their own mind maps. I can give you 100 mind map resources, but those will be only helpful if you think like that. If you remember, in schools and colleges we used to memorize poems, right? But half of the time we didn't understand what that poem is saying. It says think from the point of or perspective of that author who has written that poem. But come on, man, that was like 150 years ago, 60 years ago, 20 years ago. That poem was in a different era. He was thinking something different. How do I know what he was thinking, right? So you make your own stories, you make your own summaries, and relate to it. Talk to your peers, talk to your trainers, talk to everyone that, am I thinking correctly? Do you think this is relatable? Something like that. Get it reinforced. Always mix read, learn, watch. So don't just depend on watching videos. You have to write it down. Go for a Pomodoro technique is like, you have short bursts of study, where basically what you are doing is, study is focused for only 25 minutes, and then you take a short break of 5 minutes, again 25 minutes, again short break of 5 minutes. This will stop mental fatigue, right? So 25 minutes study, 5 minutes break. Don't go beyond that. Have the Pomodoro timer. These are freely available for your mobile phone. Everyone has that. Just download that, run the timer. After 25 minutes, it will tell you, take a break, take a break, go for a break, 5 minutes, come back, again continue, again press the timer. Yes, I am ready to start. That will stop you from mental fatigue. Go for explanation from your peer. Maintain error logs. Whatever you are facing every day, maintain them to keep a track of questions. What went wrong? What was my learning from it? Because see, mistakes everyone makes. Everyone, your managers make mistakes, but it is good to learn from that, so that you can share with your peers, you can share with your subordinates, right? Do the full length questions. More you do these questions, get you will get adapted. Before the exam, have adequate sleep. Never just underestimate the power of sleep, right? So never underestimate that power, because more you sleep, better. You will have a better functioning brain while you are in the exam room. So 7 to 8 hours of sleep minimum. Don't think that within that time which you are wasting, you might feel you will learn two more topics. No, you cannot do that, right? So what you can do is just make sure that you sleep well, right? And go for good nutritious food. Always make sure you have a good sleep, good nutritious food. Don't go for, say, okay, I will have today a lot of fried and veggies and this and that. Have a proper meal, whatever you have at home, right? Nothing fancy, but just go for that. And then always arrive early. Bring the documents to the location. Know what documents, because more you forget these documents, more your stress level will be high. Go for a proper time management. Whenever you are answering questions, as I mentioned, you see 150 questions, 4 hours, you say, oh, it is nothing, it's just walk in the park, right? But moment you see 120 questions are down and 30 questions still remaining with half an hour, that time you start stressing out. So don't do that. Always plan. Can you finish 50 questions in 1 hour, another 50 questions in 1 hour, another 50 questions in 1 hour, and 1 hour for revision? Can you do that? No. Then go for, say, 70 questions in 1 hour, 70 questions in 1 hour, 70 questions in 1 hour, and then remaining you can fix for another hour. So plan accordingly. Make your own strategy. I cannot tell you how many questions you can do in how many hours. It is your strategy. You know your speed of reading, your speed of understanding. More practice you do, better you will be there. Stay hydrated. Bring your own water bottle. Have some water continuously, so that you don't get excited and anxiety levels are down. Read the questions well. Look for managerial context. I'll go for some questions next, right? Again, these two are important. Always go for elimination, so that your anxiety level is less and you can fight two people rather than four people. These two are very important. If unsure, and again, if you are unsure, then only return and flag, otherwise don't. Read once for the context, read again for the keyword. Read two times minimum. I This is my suggestion, up to you how you want to do it, right? Last part is, these are the important action verbs. Take a screenshot. Qualifier verbs, context clues, stakeholder references, and time specific words. Very important for your exam. So when you go for action verbs, you will see identify, prioritize, mitigate, communicate, report, implement. So these are action, what you are doing. These are business related, right? Next is qualifier, most effective, most appropriate, primary, best. Go for these words and understand what will be the best option here, primary option here, most appropriate here. Then you have context clue, like, in response to a data breach, this is like a context. It is giving you the context, what domain it might be from. When implementing a new governance framework, right? So this is from domain 1, this is from domain 4. To reduce risk exposure, this is from risk management, domain number 3. So go for these phrases so that it gives out which domain they belong to. This is domain number 1, this is domain number 2, sorry, risk management, then this is domain number 4, right? So go for these phrases. Then stakeholder reference, executive management, board of director, audit committee, what is your point of view going to be like, right? And do you want it immediately, initially, next step, after investigating, and so on, because you might have 4 steps. So initially will be step number 1, next step would be step number 2, after investigating would be step number 1 in the incident response plan, and so on. So you have to know these keywords. Last, we are going to talk about some questions. And one question, so scenario is, say you have recently joined as a CISO in a mid-sized healthcare organization. During your first month, you notice that the existing security strategy is heavily focused on implementing cutting edge tools, but there is no formal alignment. Understand this, no formal alignment between security project and broader organizational goals, such as patient data protection, regulatory compliance, and so on. When you bring this up to a CIO, she asks for your primary recommendation. Primary, first thing, what would you recommend first to ensure the security functions better, supports business objective? So you see here already there is a gap, so you have to work on that gap now. Which of the following should be your first step? So first step, it says immediately purchase additional next gen firewalls to strengthen perimeter defense, conduct a gap analysis of current security initiative against the organization's security strategy goals, develop technical security training for the entire team, prepare a detailed incident response plan for ransomware scenario. Now, let us break it down and understand what would be the scenario like. So, align security with business objective. This is the founding principle of this CISM, right? Always business objective should be your priority, and security should be something you align with. Now, before buying a new technology, which is option A, that is go for a next gen firewall, you have to focus on something else. Your first thing cannot be buy new technology. Focusing on incident specific plans, which is say option D, prepare a detailed incident response plan for ransomware will be something which is secondary, right? A CISM professional ensures there is a clear strategic alignment between security initiatives and organizationals core goals like patient care, compliance, data integrity. So here it is already mentioned that which is missing, patient data protection is missing, regulatory compliance is missing, there is a gap in that, right? So always conduct a gap analysis. This should be your focus, first focus, primary focus. This is the ideal first step to identify misalignment between current security measures and what the business really needs. This is more strategic and governance oriented than simply creating a training. Training is no direction. What kind of training will you give them? I don't know what I am going to achieve with that training, so I have to know first, am I going to give them privacy training, non privacy training, technical training? So training can be anything. So creating technical training is not the solution here. So A, C, and D not the answer. This approach will reflect CISM's emphasis on governance and risk management at the managerial level, ensuring all subsequent decisions. Okay.